Good afternoon. It is Thursday. It's a thrilling Thursday. I'm in Wake Forest, North Carolina. It's hot and humid with some thunder showers here and there. Hopefully, you're doing well wherever you're at, wherever you're participating from, however you're watching. Um, Thank you. Thanks for joining us in our everyday live coaching. This is our way of giving back as we, help society and everybody kind of navigate the challenges that all of us are facing that have been increasingly heavy and unpredictable and have created a level of uncertainty that maybe we haven't seen before. And so I'm excited every day to be able to jump on here and spend some time with you doing and providing some coaching. We have the option for people to log in through Zoom and participate. And if needs be, we'll have you on live and we'll have a chat with you about your specific situation. All you need to do is just come in, raise your hand, and we'll bring you on at that point. So super excited because today we're going to talk about the one question that we can ask ourselves to create more clarity and have better focus in our life. And certainly that's something that we need. I love this quote by George Eliot. He says, "Our deeds determine us as much as we determine our deeds." And ultimately, that's what this question is all about. It's about helping us to redirect our behaviors so that we can get the best results out of ourselves. Because right now, people are struggling with uncertainty. People are struggling with doubt. They doubt themselves. They doubt their careers. They doubt the security that they thought they had, 4 months ago. Things are very, very different. And certainly, people are afraid to now take risks. They're afraid to step out there and try new things or do new things. And this feels kind of suffocating. It feels challenging and difficult because there's that lack of predictability, if you will. And if you followed us, if you've been listening to us, then you know that one of the our methodology is that we help people to perform at the highest levels based on three core components. We help them to be consistent, meaning they are doing the things that they know they should be doing consistently. They're showing up every day. They're doing the things that they already know. Second is to be correct, that they have the right tools, the right approaches, the right strategies for accomplishing things and getting things done, whether that be time management or conflict management or any skill that they can develop and grow to then leverage in their business, in their family, in their relationships, in their health, what have you. And then the last is that we really focus on control. That means that we are managing our intensity, our effort, and really our intention. We're not just going through the motions. We're not just on cruise control. We're really showing up in a powerful, powerful way. And when we can blend all of those, consistency, correctness, and control, when we can blend those together, then that's where you find peak performance, and not only just peak performance for a short amount of time, but for a sustainable amount of time for the long term, and it's manageable. And I'll say it has nothing to do with your circumstances around you. It doesn't matter if there's a COVID happening or pandemic or all of the tensions that are swirling around us right now, because you can still perform at that highest level because you're at the center of your world. And so right now, when we think about this question, how do we maintain our focus? How do we avoid distractions? And then how do we make sure that we minimize or avoid conflict? And when conflict does come up, how do we actually navigate it? So the very first thing that we help all of our clients do is to really create a vision for themselves. Now, I know for many of you that might feel like, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to find a bunch of old magazines. I'm going to cut out pictures of cars and houses and things that I want. And I'm going to put that up on my board. I'm going to have a vision board, and the rest is just cake, right? Then I just wait for the universe to manifest it, to bring it back to me. And then I just enjoy the benefits of that. That's not what we're talking about at all. We're not talking about things as much as we're talking about the vision. What are you trying to create for yourself? And that's actually a variation of the question itself. The question that we want everybody to ask is, what is it I am trying to achieve? What is it that I'm trying to achieve? Now, like I said, we start with our clients, big picture. Where do you want to be in 18 months, in 5 years? What is the legacy that you want to leave behind? And we want them to be incredibly granular. We want them thinking really specifically. What does retirement look like? What are you able to do? Where are you traveling? How often? How much money do you have in the bank? Describe for me the relationship that you have with your spouse. Describe for me your health. What are you able to do? What are those things you're doing? And we get as granular as we can so that that vision becomes a lot more crystal clear. How do you want to interact with your kids? How do you want them to interact with you and each other? How do you want to manage conflict in that vision that you have for yourself? How does your family rebound from setbacks and challenges and difficulties? Those are all things that when we ask about a vision, we want to create that vision. Those are questions we don't typically ask. We typically do the end result. Here's my vision board, and we're done. But then we help people dial that back to, okay, what has to happen then in the next 18 months for that to be true? And then the next 90 days. And then on a much smaller level, it's every single day. What do I have to do right now to be able to move towards that vision that I have for myself? And that can be anything, and it ranges, from health goals of, running marathons or competing in extreme sports, or career goals of reaching a certain level, or business goals, meeting a different, a certain kind of metric. We have those visions for ourselves, but oftentimes we don't dial that back and step that back. So we ground everybody there on, here is our big picture. Here's why we're going to make the sacrifices that we're going to make over the next several days, weeks, months, years. And the more crystal clear and thorough that vision is, then the more likely it's going to be able to motivate you when times are tough, when things are really, really difficult, like we're in now. And so that vision is step one on the macro level. Then we look smaller. Okay. I said, this is the question that you can ask to avoid conflict. This is the question that you can ask to stay focused. This is the question that you can ask to ignore distractions. And it's simple. What is it I'm trying to achieve? So let's say, for example, you get stuck in the middle of a conflict, maybe between two colleagues. Now, oftentimes, especially there's political, capital being thrown around. There's certainly emotional capital being thrown around. There's difficulty that is inherent to that interaction. So what needs to happen is somebody, ideally you, needs to pause and say, hold on, what is it I'm trying to achieve? Now, don't think short term of, here's what I'm trying to achieve right now. I want to win this argument. I want to win this fight. I want to win this project. Think a little bit longer term. How do you describe it? Get granular. How do you want the relationship with these colleagues to be in the future? How do you want that relationship with the spouse? What position do you want to hold within the company? And as you start to answer that question of, what is it that I'm really trying to achieve, and looking at it through a level of granularity, then the behaviors start to align. You start to think, okay, well, if that's what I'm trying to achieve, well, I'm certainly not going to fly off the handle. I'm not going to throw a chair through the wall. I'm not going to call names and degrade these people, right? We start to now get a little bit more clarity. We have to have that vision first of, here's what I'm really, truly trying to achieve. Then we can start to align those behaviors. So how about distractions? How about all the distractions that keep coming our way? Now, again, we would say the foundation is you have to have that vision that's really clear of where you're trying to go. When you have that vision, then you're able to say, okay, you're able to recognize the distractions. But let's say that you're there, you're working away, you get a chat pop up that's from your boss or colleague and says, hey, can you do this for me? You pause. What is it that I'm trying to achieve? And again, You take into account the holistic approach, the relationship, your personal goals, your professional goals, the time, the opportunity costs, all of those you take into account real quickly to be able to then align your behaviors. You know what? This is going to be hard, but I'm going to have to say no to my boss at this time. Or maybe I need more information, so I'm going to ask questions. But when we start with that, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? We're then more likely to be informed of what the next step is that we need to take. And most people don't do that, right? Most people, they just act, they react. Their first impulse is, well, this is my boss. He's asking me to do something. She's asking me to do something. I'm going to do it. This is my colleague. I don't really like her, so I'm going to say no. This is so-and-so. And here's the political gain that I might get just by saying yes. But maybe as we pause and we ask, well, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? Maybe we're trying to achieve a level of independence, a level of confidence that allows us to be able to say no. And maybe as we think about that, then we're more positioned to be able to make that action, to take that step. And that is the hard thing, right? Same thing with the conflict, right? If our spouses kind of throw that button pushing brick over the wall, same thing. What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? Rather than just get entangled in the same old argument, the same old fight, maybe you do something differently. Maybe you now say, okay, what is it that I'm trying to create with this person? How do I navigate this differently? Hey, why don't we take a step back? Hey, why don't we, maybe get some help and bring in a third party, whatever that might be. So what are you trying to achieve? Think about that as you go about your day. That simple question you can ask in any moment, whether it's when you sit down with your family for dinner, it's when you pull up to your house and maybe you just sit there for a minute and you pause and you're like, I'm about to go inside. I know it's a madhouse in there. What is it that I'm trying to achieve? That way you don't go in and start, laying the smack down and throwing the hammer around. Right. If you, I obviously these are close to me because I'm a parent. I've got 4 little kids, so there's always some level of chaos that if I didn't take that moment and ask myself, what is it that I'm trying to achieve, then I could easily find myself in situations where I'm trying to just manage a problem instead of really looking long term at what is it that I'm trying to achieve. What is the relationship I want with this, little 8-year-old when she's 25? How does this moment impact that? Because I know from personal experience, from all of the people who we've worked with, that later down the road, they come back and the things that don't matter are their careers, how much money they have in the bank, what title they had. The things that they ask for help with is, hey, how do I get my child to talk to me again? Or hey, how do I now connect with my spouse who for the last 30 years I've been, telling this is all for the family. And it's those types of trade-offs that we want to avoid. And asking that simple question, what am I trying to achieve, can help you get that moment of pause to create that moment of clarity and then align your actions. Now, we go through a process. We start with that vision, big picture vision. We teach the concept of using a small picture vision for any given moment, challenge, etc. But we also then align our values, who we are as a person, who we're trying to become, because becoming the person we want to become requires practicing being the person we want to become. So we align our values and then our beliefs, how we think about ourselves, our circumstances, our challenges, and then that usually, if we can connect those 3 dots, vision, values, beliefs, and then that leads to habits, and we're able to get the right outcome. So I promise you, if you use this question, what am I trying to achieve? Then you're going to have more clarity. You are going to be able to better recognize distractions and avoid distractions. And you're going to reduce conflict in your life. I promise you're going to be able to find better solutions just by taking that moment of pause. You're going to have more momentum. You're going to see things start to roll forward. Pandemic or not, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if you're in a pandemic. It doesn't matter if there's political craziness all around us. This is the way that you operate. And when you ask that question, it will help align your behaviors. It'll help you shut down your social media and scrolling and go do something productive. And in the end, you're going to accomplish your goals faster. And it's not always easy. I'm going to share one personal example and then I'm going to let y'all go. I woke up this morning ready for my run. And when my alarm goes off, I was exhausted. And I intentionally last night, I knew it was going to be tough getting up this morning. We ended up staying a little bit later last night. And I put my phone on the other side of the room. So the alarm's going off. And I wake up and I'm just exhausted. And I literally fall out of bed and I commando crawl over on the floor over to my phone. And really, because that was the closest thing to sleep while still also getting up for my run. And I got to my phone and I turned it off and I thought real hard about just going back to bed. And in that moment, I asked, hold on, what am I trying to achieve? And one of those things is health for the long term. But in the short term, I'm trying to build a good habit of consistently running every single day, with the exception of 1 day a week where I rest. And so in that moment, I asked myself, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? As I answered that question for myself, and then I went through my process of, okay, what values do I want to lead with? What do I need to believe about the situation to be empowered? That then pushed me to get up and wake up. And I'm so glad I did, even though it's wicked hot here, wicked humid. I was able to get out and get my run and be done with it, before really anybody else's day started. And so that's the power that this question can have, where if we can just find a way to just pause and ask ourselves, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? I promise you, you are going to get ideas that are going to help you follow through, have more certainty, have more clarity, have more focus, and ultimately build momentum and get your goals accomplished faster. I promise. Short term, long term, it works for both. So listen, if this has been helpful for you, please tag somebody, share, comment, bring some people who are struggling with uncertainty. Let them know that, hey, there's a resource out there that they can chime in. They don't have to participate on the actual platform, the Zoom platform, but they can spectate through Facebook or what have you. So until next time, which will be tomorrow, we will talk with you later. Have a good day. See ya.